Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Daniel, aka HashLips, and welcome to today's episode. Very special episode because today we have got Torrin here. Torrin is the creator of Blend My NFTs. How cool is that? So, we have today a very special guest, the creator of the most well known 3D NFT creation tool. It's like the art engine, but for the 3D world. And I'm very excited to introduce Torrin to my community. I'm also excited to hear more about how he started the collection, this script that creates collections, and most of all, I'm excited to try it out as well. So here's Torrin. Torrin, how you doing, man?
My name is Torrin Leonard. I'm the creator of Blend My NFTs and the co-founder of this cozy studio. I created Blend My NFTs a little while ago with my brothers. We really wanted to create an NFT collection that was unique, and so we wanted to use the open source tool as called Blender for our project. We really liked that it was open source and that there was a whole bunch of stuff you could do. So we wanted to create something really special with that. When we first released Blend My NFTs, it was sort of just like a side project, wasn't really too complex. But over the past few months, it's gotten way more sophisticated and we've added a lot more features to it.
Wow, man, that is amazing. So when I started my art engine, obviously a 2D thing, just layering images, and I guess when it comes to 3D, that's quite intense, right? Because you have a lot of different things to think of, but you're also making use of a rendering engine, which helps facilitate with rendering, but not at all like layering it. So I think, what was the biggest challenge for you when you like designed this program?
Yeah, so I gotta say the biggest challenge was figuring out how Blender worked with Python. Now, if you don't know what an API is, it stands for an application programming interface. And it basically means you can control Blender with code. It took me quite a long time to figure out how Blender worked with Python. And it was just a real head scratcher, lots of Stack Overflow forums and reading through the documentation. It was a real pain to get through that, but it worked out quite fine.
Yeah, man, I get that. Jeez. And you guys probably have a ton of requests from people wanting more features.
Yeah. So we actually just released a couple really big features over the past month. The biggest one is called Logic. Logic's a way that you can control rules with certain attributes of your NFT collection. So, say you don't want a certain red cube to appear with a red sphere, you can define that with that feature. Another big thing is resuming failed batches, and because the nature of Blender and how long it takes for you to render these large 10,000 NFT collections, we split it up into batches so you can render overnight and still use your computer during the day. But Blender still has the tendency to fail. So that resume feature was really useful, and a lot of people in our community have been asking for it for a while. So
Man, that sounds amazing. Well, I'm actually excited to try it out for the very first time. My girlfriend has been playing around with the Blend My NFT code for a while now. She understands it way more than me, and I'm excited to give it a go. So I think that's what we're going to be doing. Torrin, it's amazing how you guys started it off. I know your brothers got involved as well. You a little team pushing through. Is there anything else you want to, give a shout out to your brothers for the work you guys do together? Is it easy working with your brothers?
yeah, well, I gotta say it's the easiest thing in the world. I love them to death. They've been a huge help with this entire thing. They've shown me how things in Blender work that I have a really hard time understanding. I'm a code guy. They're very 3D design and stuff like that. So yeah, their names are Devlin and Kalen. They've been a huge help along this journey. It's been awesome with them.
Oh man, well, how fortunate you are to work with family. That's truly something special, man. But I'm really excited. Like I said, I think let's show the viewers like what this thing actually is. And for
Yeah,
anyone watching, they can go ahead and try that too, right? So, Torrin has been kind enough to give me an example project, which looks like this. And it's basically what do you call it? It's an isometric room. Is it isometric? What do
yeah,
you go? Okay, cool.
yeah.
So
So
explain to me,
it
what
was
are we seeing here first, Darren? Like, maybe I must even bring this down a bit, otherwise no one's going to see what we are seeing. There we go.
Yeah, so it's basically a mock-up of one of our NFT collections. It's a simple room. My brother actually based it off of his room, and it's exactly what you said. It's a flat camera, so you can't really see depth, but it's a really cool art style because it shows off a cubed space really well, and so you're allowed to fit in a lot of really interesting shapes in that kind of view. So if you go to that little ball there with the XYZ blue, red, and yeah, and just drag that around, you can actually see the 3D shapes.
Oh yeah, there we go. So
Yeah.
I guess the this actually is pretty cool. And is it because it starts off at a camera angle like this, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess we'll get into that now, but is this the final output, or viewers and users can change whatever thing they want to do? They don't have to do a room, right? This is just an example, but you can do a
Yep.
character as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've done we've had lots of clients that have done character models, and it's the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. This is just a example. It's based off some work we've done. So yeah.
Man, that's amazing. And it's quite, there's detail in there. If you just look at this angle, you won't even know there's a big hole behind you. I
Yeah.
love it. Very, very cool. Well, I'm excited to get started. So I think what we need to do is explain to the users how to do this step by step. The first thing is, obviously, you need some kind of Blender project or some kind of 3D objects, right? So you'll have your 3D objects ready with attributes. If we're talking about this room, you will have your room, and then your objects would be kind of, the bedding might be different. There might be a different chair. It might,
Yep.
might be a different door, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things that people are spending the most amount of time on is creating assets. So it's we have them sorted into two sort of categories. On your right there in that little scene drop down, um, you can see the different attributes that we have. We call them attributes. Some people call them traits. But for example, um, that background collection is we refer to it as an attribute, and then those sub collections in there are the different types of backgrounds. So you got green, orange, and I think there's some other colors there as well. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that you gotta get right is organizing those.
Wow, man. It looks like a organization and a half over here. But I guess once you do this once, you can generate as many as you want to. And I believe your program actually tells how many you can generate. Is
Yeah,
that true?
yeah. So I'll show you this a bit later on, but for some of the really big NFT collections, you can get into the quadrillions of combinations. It's really crazy how exponential the numbers get. But yeah, it'll tell you exactly how many combinations you can create. It'll also give you a recommendation about what size of your NFT collection can be. There's some mathematics in there, so it gets a bit complicated, but yeah, we'll get into it.
All right, Torrance. So I'm excited. I'm ready. The viewers are ready. We're going to do this. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so the first thing I guess what everyone needs to do is, if you have the urge to create a 3D collection, go to github.com and then go to this URL right here, right? Tornworks and then Blend by NFTs. But I'll leave it in the description as well. And then go ahead to the code section and you can download the zip over there. Once you have that downloaded, drag it somewhere or place it somewhere on your system where you will find it when we go ahead and search for this. So I'm going to drag mine and just put it on the desktop, which is fine, Torrin, right? I can just leave it there.
Yep. Yeah, wherever you can access it.
Okay, perfect. And then what we'll need to do is go and open Blender again. Now, you might not have this scene, but we're going to walk you through what you'll need to do in order to create something like this. But just for now, download Blender. Blender is an open source free 3D tool, and it's really, really high quality. The standards of Blender just gets better each day. And a lot of production houses use Blender because of its powerful capabilities. One of the things that makes Blender so powerful is that you can use Python to control 3D objects, and that's exactly what Torrin has done. Torrin and his brothers have actually devised the system so that you can actually make NFTs in 3D with metadata. So when you start off Blender, it will not look like this. There won't be anything here. All these objects would be gone and you will have an empty blank project. It is your responsibility to import your models, making sure that they fit exactly how you want to generate them. Now, Torrin, I see that on the right hand side, it's very important these collections. What can you tell us about these?
Yeah, so in that little field there, you see that there are two different types of collections. Now, in the bottom, there are attribute collections, and at the very top, there's that script ignore collection. Now, everything within that collection, the script ignore, will always appear on every single NFT. So if you have a camera or some special lighting that you want to stay the same, or even a background, you will place it within that little script ignore collection. Now, every other collection in that sort of header space, so we have the background, cozy covers, door handles, and etc. Those are all going to be the attributes of our NFT collection, or think of it as the headers, the main traits. Now, if we open those up, we can see all the different types of objects that are inside that. So we have blue background, pink background, orange background, teal and green. So these are all of the variants, we call them, that will be cycled through for each of our NFT collections.
That's awesome, man. So basically, when it comes to these attributes, these traits, are these going to be the traits that people see on OpenSea? And this is something important to understand. So when you open an OpenSea collection and you look at the traits, you will see the cozy covers and the door handle and the table and so on.
Yeah. So the names that you have there for the attributes will appear on OpenSea. And likewise for the variants, everything before that first underscore will appear on OpenSea. So that underscore there is a very important sort of indicator that we use to define a variant versus an attribute.
Okay, that is very interesting. And what do these numbers represent? Because I see there's a blue background and then there's an underscore one underscore 30. Now you said that this distinguishes the variant or the variant attributes, right? But what is this last value?
Yeah, so the numbers, as you said, they're just an incrementing number. It just represents the order that they're in. The last value is actually to indicate rarity. So you can set how often an NFT has that certain variant. So, for example, I think the order is wrong in that one, but out of 100%, 30% of the time that blue background will appear. And so you can just set it out of 100, and yeah, it'll appear that way.
Okay. So technically, people should just work a value out of 100. And does this go for all these attributes together? So for instance, 100 needs to fit these five attributes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you can maybe set one to 10, another one to 10, and then maybe this one 30, 20, and then this one 30 again, just to
Yep,
make sure.
exactly.
I don't even know if that makes 100, but oh well. Okay, so, okay, great. But it will work if we run it like this, right? Or will it?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's not exact. It's percentage based. So the math will add everything and then divide it by, I forget what the number was. I think it's by 100. So it should work.
perfect. So now, once you have pulled in, I guess, your 3D objects and they're in here, they're all centered, and you have sorted them out in different collections, remember that the script ignore, these will be the objects that basically gets ignored by the script. So they'll always stay there. They are like the static elements, right? And then
Yep.
the other ones would be changing. And that's quite simple. There shouldn't be anything outside, I guess. They should all be in collections, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a big red flag when we see people asking for help is they forget to put objects inside collections. So it's that's really important.
Okay. So do not do that if you are going to use this program. Do not go and create something and have it be outside of a collection. So you can't have it just here. Everything needs to exist inside one of these collections, just to be clear. So we can go ahead and delete this. I haven't used Blender in a long time. So now I'm struggling to, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, we're doing this live. So there's no real cuts apart from just scenes. But now we're going to actually install the tool. I'm very excited and I can't wait to try it out. So what is next? Once we have Blender open, we have set up all the layers in their respective collections. What do we do next? We have downloaded the application, your application, but we haven't installed it yet.
Yeah, so to install it, it's pretty simple. We're going to go over to Edit
Okay.
and then Preferences. And then in Preferences, oh, awesome. We're already on the Add-ons tab. So we can click Install. And then it should be right there. Yeah, so just select the zip file. You don't even have to unzip it and just click Install Add-on.
And there
And
it
then
is.
just make sure to check that box right there. Now it's enabled.
Wow. And I already see a change, right? I already see this extra tab over here for everyone watching right now popping in. So if you switch it on and off, there's the tab.
Yep.
So your program actually also has a UI integrated into this.
Yeah, so we worked really hard to get this right. And we tried to make it as easy as possible for people to create an NFT collection in Blender. So yeah, you can set all sorts of things. I can walk you through it. But yeah,
Yeah, man. So like it looks very user friendly. I can already guess that this is my test, my name of my NFT collection, right?
yep, yeah. So you can set that. That'll appear in the metadata and on OpenSea. So yeah, that's a really important field there.
Okay, so let's come up with some collection. Let's maybe call this um the best ape. I know everyone loves derivatives, man. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the best ape collection. All right. Anyway, this is our NFT collection. Now, this is the maximum number of NFTs that it can create or that we want to create. What is this field?
Yeah, so this is the theoretical maximum. Blend My NFTs can't really export that many NFTs, so we like to stick to that recommended limit. Obviously, you're free. You're more than welcome to go above that limit, but it's just easier on Blend My NFTs, and we start to see a little some weird behaviors when we get to that theoretical maximum.
Okay, so you even have a recommended limit. This is pretty straightforward. So you're recommending a limit where you shouldn't really go over. And I guess that if you really want to have more NFTs, then you should have more layers. Is that correct in saying?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really important when you're trying to do a big collection like 10,000 that you have a lot of attributes and variants so that sort of that multiple brings that maximum and a number of NFTs really high.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I get to see that we get to set aside. So I think for our example, let's make five NFTs. And then this NFT per batch, basically, you spoke about the batches before, but just maybe reiterate on what that is.
Yeah, so when Blender renders images or animations, it can typically take a few hours to get a single animation done, depending on the size. So the way we typically like to work with these large 10,000 NFT collections is we like to group them in batches. So here we can say we want two NFTs per batch or something like that. So for this example, let's just set it to five so that we have a single batch, and we'll go ahead and render that out later.
Perfect, man. That's amazing. And here we get to save it somewhere. So I already have this with the recording there. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's create maybe a file. And I'm just going to call this the test file to put this in. So now that I have set my saving path, where it's going to save the NFTs to, right? The images, basically.
Yep.
All right. And then enable rarity. Now, I take it that if you enable the rarity, you need to add the number here at the end.
Yeah, so if you leave that unchecked, it'll just select each variant in that collection randomly. So there won't be any weights applied, so everything will just be uniform. So that gold cozy covers will appear just as often as the blue cozy covers. But if you have it checked, it'll only appear, I think it's 10% of the time there.
Okay, perfect. That's very straightforward. So far, I'm having a really pleasurable experience using the program, I must say. And this enable logic, what does that mean?
Yeah, so I don't think we have time to get into that in this video, but if you
Okay.
click that, you can open up a save path to something called a logic file. And this is just a simple JSON file where you can define your rules. On that GitHub repo, we have a lot of information people can read about how to set that up. But it basically means that you can say, don't include this object with this object, or always include this object with this object. So it's a way to define sort of rules about how your NFT collection looks.
That's a good point. And I think, for anyone trying this out, it looks like the documentation on your repo is very clear, laid out. So people can go and experiment with these higher order functions, and maybe trying to kind of use that logic if they would like to. But I agree, this is pretty cool. Sometimes you have different logic that you would like to add. In our case, we just want to create a simple collection, and that's in most people's cases, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Perfect. So generate NFTs. I guess this is indeed going to be images, but I can see you can do animations as well as the 3D model as well, and select the type. And then here
Yep.
it says batch to generate. Is this going to select the first batch, or how does that work?
Yeah. So because we set the NFT collection size to be five in total, and the number of NFTs per batch to be five, we'll only end up having one batch. So pretty simple. We'll just leave it at one because that's the first batch. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That is pretty cool. And just to reiterate, it saves between batches.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so we have a save feature now. So if for some reason Blender crashes and you're right in the middle of a 10-hour long render, you'll be able to pick up right where you left off.
That's amazing, man. And then I see that you have some options for the metadata, but should we first generate the NFTs?
The first step would be to create data. So there's a button up there in that first tab.
Okay.
And this is a really important step because it sort of acts as a record of what our NFT will be. So if we click that and then head over to that save path that we set, we can see that it generated a folder. And inside that folder, there's another folder called NFT data. And some really technical stuff, but basically that's your NFT collection right there. It hasn't been rendered out yet, so this is just sort of the backbone of what will be generated.
Awesome. Okay, so that's just to know that anyone using the program first create the data. Don't forget this step. And
Yep.
if we did do that, is it now the time to generate, or what is next?
Yeah, so absolutely. So just a quick note before we actually generate the NFTs, Blender goes into this little freeze state. So it'll look like Blender crashed, but it is rendering images. And a way that we can check if images are rendering is by opening something called the Blender System Console. And this will give us updates. In our README documentation, we have a whole section about how to enable this on Mac and Windows. So feel free to check that out.
All right. Well, I think we have a small enough collection. We're going to click on this button and hope for the best. So you did mention that Blender does freeze a little bit because it is rendering it at the background. And I guess we just now need to wait, right?
Exactly.
And at this point, it's just important to note if you had the console or the terminal open, you will see the process happening. In our case, we are blind, so we're just waiting now. Hey, Torrin, we were joking. We said Blender was, stuck, but honestly, it didn't take that long. And it was 5 NFTs. I've now opened up the test actual file where we said it should save. Let's go ahead and check it out. Where should we navigate to now? Generated batch NFTs, batch 1,
Yep.
images. Whoa, and there they are. Let's check them out. Man, that looks cool. So here we go. There's the actual generated NFTs. And my Mac, for some reason, used to open them up very nicely. Oh, there we go. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The 3D art engine. Blend by NFTs. How amazing is that? This NFT even has the little computer screen with the light. So it's really important to note that you can really be creative with this piece of software because just check the lighting. It gives a different element just having that screen there on the table, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I think the PC also emits some different colors.
When you're looking at doing ERC 721, you'll need to tick this, or is there another step to generate the JSON files?
Yeah, so right now we're in sort of a limbo state. So imagine we're doing like a big 10K collection and we have tons of different batches. So the next step would be to sort of combine all those batches and create the metadata. So we can do that in Blender.
Okay. So wait, we go in here, and then do we refactor choosing the metadata type?
Yeah, so you can check ERC 721 and then just you can set your description, whatever you want it to be.
Okay. And
Awesome.
then we can just refactor.
Yep. Yeah, just click that. And then just verify that because at this point you can't go back. So after you refactor your batches, just make sure that you have all of them generated. But yeah, that's it. You've created a 3D NFT collection.
Man, how cool is that? That is awesome. So when we go into the generated, where is it now? Complete collection. Here we go. So there's the ERC 721 metadata in its full glory. The name, the description, the image, the attributes are all there. Now, obviously, when you want to link them up, you can write a small Python script or Node.js. I think this is something I'll show people how to replace, but I'm pretty sure it's very simple stuff. But the fact that this program, Torrin, made it so easy for us to generate, I think a lot of people are so happy using this. What's been the feedback? What's been your most inspirational feedback that you've gotten from people using it?
Yeah, it's been quite incredible. I never imagined that so many people would find it useful. Just a lot of thank yous from our community. A lot of you can join our community and see that there are just posts every day, people saying, "Hey, I created my collection with this. Thank you so much." And it really warmed my heart to see that so many people use the tool we built. So yeah.
So, Torrin, this has been amazing and an eye opener for me to use the software myself. I think a lot of people will find value in trying it out. And how much more fun do NFT collections become, especially if you can do them in 3D? I'm really looking forward to the adaptations and the features that you guys are planning on bringing out. So, we'll definitely have another video like this. But I highly encourage everyone to go and follow you on social media, and I'll leave your details in the description below in the video, as well as a link to the repo. And man, what an amazing experience this was. And thank you for being on this video with me.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a huge honor. You were the main inspiration for this whole Blend My NFTs engine, and yeah, thank you.
Oh man, it's only a pleasure, but I wasn't expecting that. I almost cried right now. Okay, I've been recording all freaking day, but everyone watching now, go and follow Torrin. Go and follow this channel. We talk about code, we do awesome stuff, and for everyone watching right now, have an amazing day. Cheers for now.